Hi everybody, Ron here of Ron's Trains and Things, and today I'm bringing you the first in a series of 3 videos that I am entering into the Big Build Contest version 2, sponsored by Eric Hall on his YouTube channel, IMRROcom. You'll see that address scrolling on the bottom of your screen right now, and I hope that you'll go check out his YouTube channel. He's doing some inspiring work there, and hope that you will go give him a shout out. In these videos, I will be scratch building Barron Brothers Farm and Garden in Bowie, Texas. Now, as you will see, the space that I have for this industry is pretty limited, so I've had to do some selective compression and some serious redesigning of the building in order to make it fit. But I think I've been able to maintain the general character, the overall flavor of the building, and I hope that you agree when we're finished. In this video, I'm going to be introducing the project, showing you a mock-up that I have made in advance, showing you the materials that I'll be using to build it, and also some of the tools that will be necessary in the project. So for IMRROcom Big Build Contest version 2 and Ron's Trains and Things, let's get started. My project for the Big Build Contest is Barron Brothers Farm and Garden. This is based on a prototype in Bowie, Texas, and this is a mock-up that I made a few weeks ago to try to see if I could fit this business into the space that I have on my layout, and you'll see that in a later video. I built this mock-up based on this prototype that I'm going to show you in a picture right now. And as you can see, the picture looks quite a bit different from the model mock-up that I've made. The mock-up, it actually condenses 3 different buildings that are part of this industry all into one building. And here, as you see on my mock-up, it is definitely compressed and reconfigured from the original, definitely not a scale model of the original industry, but I've tried to capture the general look and the overall flavor of that original building, and I think it's going to serve pretty well in a very limited amount of space that I have. There are some differences and some changes. You can see already some marks that I have made where I've decided to make a few changes from the mock-up, but basically this is what the project is going to be, and this is what we are going to be building. As you see, I've already cut the base for my model, and I'm going to turn it upside down here, and we are going to mark it for the contest as IMRROcom Big Build Contest version 2 2017. And so we are officially underway in the contest. Here are some of the tools we'll be using in our scratch building project, starting with a good sharp pencil. You've got to be able to make nice crisp lines for cutting, and to make sure you keep those lines straight, I have a number of straight edges. Also, these scale rulers are used for measuring the pieces, making sure that they are the right size. I have squares for making sure I make square lines and square cuts, and also to help keep the building corners in square whenever we're gluing them together. For doing our cutting for small stock like scale lumber and rod, we'll be using a razor saw with a tabletop miter box, and of course for much of our other styrene cutting, a hobby knife with a nice sharp number 11 blade. For inside corners, I have a pin vise with a small drill bit to drill those corners out so you can cut them out cleanly, and then you can clean those corners and all of those edges up with some needle files, and also have sanding sticks and sandpaper in a variety of textures. When we go to gluing things together, of course have clamps. I need some light clamps that will hold my end scale parts together without breaking them. And I have this gluing jig, which has nice vertical and horizontal right corners, and it has these nice magnets that help hold the work in place as you glue it and as it dries. It's a very, very handy tool. Painter's tape sometimes is as good as a clamp. You can tape the work right to the surface as you mark and cut it can be very handy. I have a self-healing cutting mat. This is a pink one that I picked up at Walmart years ago that has come in very handy. For the gluing itself, you'll be using solvent cement. This is IMRROcom same stuff, but you could also use Ambroid Pro Weld 10X 7R. Those all work just as well. I don't have a touch and flow applicator, so I'll be applying that solvent cement with micro brushes. I also have some wood parts that we'll be gluing to the styrene, and for that we'll need CA. This is medium viscosity CA. When it comes to painting, our base color will be this reefer white, and the trim is Depot olive. These are some polyscale paints I still have around. And then also the concrete will be painting with Model Master aged concrete. I'll be doing that painting work mostly with my Badger 200 airbrush. This is my favorite airbrush when it comes to putting on a solid color to put on a nice even coat over a large surface. So I'll be using that for our painting, and those are the tools that will pretty well get us through this project. Now for the materials we'll be using in this project. First, for the main building, the sidewalls of this prototype were built with corrugated metal, and as is kind of common in Texas, it was hung with the corrugations running horizontal, parallel to the ground. And so for those walls, I'm going to be using Evergreen Models metal siding. This is 40 thousandths thick, but with the 30 thousandths spacing between the corrugations in the metal. Now, if you noticed earlier in the prototype photo, the roof and also this office area were later additions, and they were made with a different kind of metal siding, a more modern enamel painted type of standing seam siding. And so for that, for those portions, we're going to be using this metal siding, which is 40 thousandths thick, but has an 80 thousandths spacing between the standing ridges on this. And so we'll be using that for those portions. We have a concrete foundation around the building and also a concrete dock, and so for those concrete portions we'll be using some plain styrene. This is 40 thousandths thick plain styrene, also from Evergreen Models. This is just a piece that I had around. Now, we do have a walk-in door that has a window and a large window in the front of the office, and so we have some 5 thousandths clear stock that we'll be using for those windows. And when I cut that walk-in window and that walk-in door and that window, I'll be trimming them with some fine scale lumber. This is from Midwest Products, and this is 0.0208 square scale lumber, and we'll be using for that trim. Also, these posts that support the awning over the dock, I have 2 in the mock-up. There will actually be 4 support posts in the model, and for that we'll also be using Midwest Products scale lumber. This is 0.0416 square basswood stock. There are 2 doors, 2 freight doors in the building, one on the end and one on the dock, and they are sliding doors. They are made with the same kind of corrugated siding as are the walls, so we'll be using the same stock for the doors, but they slide in tracks, and so to make those tracks, I have this piece of Plastruct ABS plastic angle that we'll use to simulate those. And with these materials, I think we're just about ready to get started doing some scratch building for the big build contest. Well, I think I'm ready to start building. Watch for Volume 2, where I will show you exactly step by step how I built this project, coming very soon. Then in Volume 3, I'll show you the finished project in detail and exactly where it fits on my layout. For IMRROcom Big Build Contest Version 2 and Ron's Trains and Things, thanks for watching.